Hi, I'm Dave. I'm going to give you a very brief summary of how to do referencing and citation in the correct way so that you avoid any problems with Turnitin or plagiarism claims and so on. So here's an example of a piece of writing by a student. And the first thing that a lecturer or whoever's marking this would notice is that there aren't any citations or references. So we'd just assume that all of this writing here is by the student and the student's own ideas. Now, that's not true for this case, so it's plagiarism. To take an example, that first sentence there, that was actually read by the student. You read this in an article by somebody called R.R. Jordan. The idea was not by the student, wasn't the student's idea. So what do you do about that? How do we make that legitimate? Well, we put a citation. So you've noticed at the end of the sentence now we have in brackets the surname of the author of this information, not the student of course, and the year of that piece of work which the student read, maybe it was a book or whatever. So now we've got a citation at the end of the sentence, at the end of that referenced information. So that's good. We also will need to add at the end of the essay or the end of the report or whatever it is that you're making a list of references with full information about the source where the student read that bit of information. I'm not going to go into detail now about all these parts, all these bits that go into the reference. You can find that out easily on the APA quick guide on Portal and on Moodle, or the full guide as well. But it contains things like initials, titles of work, and web links if it's a website and so on. Okay, so now that first sentence in that writing, it is good. It ticks all the boxes. We've got the citation at the end of it and the list of references. I'll just say at this point, the sort of mistakes that students have made in the past is where they maybe put a list of references, which is fine, but they don't put citations. If you don't do that, how do we know which bits of information are from which sources? It just doesn't do the job that we need it to do. So that's why citations are really important. It gives you the connection between particular bits of information and the reference at the bottom. Okay, you need both of those two things to be legitimate and acceptable. Okay, so you've got full reference at the end and you've got your citation there too in the text. Okay, so now everybody knows where you got the information from. You've no longer plagiarized the first sentence because we know, the reader knows, it's not your idea. It was somebody else's idea. It was just your words. You changed the words. Now that brings us on to the next point, because there's more work needed here. Somewhere else in this paragraph, there was a sentence that was the exact words of somebody else. Okay, so the students not only copied the idea without citation, they also didn't change the words. They used the same words, maybe because it sounded good or it was the best way to explain something. They couldn't do it in their own words. You're supposed to paraphrase if you can. That means changing the words and structure to your own words. So how do we know? Well, we've no way of knowing which sentence in there was copied from elsewhere or who said it, unless you put it through Turnitin, and Turnitin will highlight, usually in red, which sentences were matched somewhere else out there in the literature. Okay, so that sentence there is actually the sentence that the student copied. Now you as the student would know, of course, that you copied that sentence because you were the person who did Control-C, Control-V or typed it word for word. You know that's there, there's no excuse. So what do you do to avoid plagiarism? Well, you put quotation marks, of course. So these double quotation marks, one at the beginning, one at the end of the bit of text. Doesn't have to be a whole sentence, it could be a few words possibly, to show that these words between these quotation marks were copied. They're not my words. Okay, and of course you need a citation as well. So you put a citation at the end of that sentence. That's the easiest way. In brackets, name of the author, surname, year and page number too, because that's what we do when we take quotations out of books. Makes it easier for a reader to go and find that quotation if they want to look at it originally. Okay, so we've got citation next to the quoted bits of work, and list of references. We've got Hyland is there too in the list of references with all the other information about that source, that book which was used. So that's a nice piece of work. Now it's complete. Got Jordan, Jordan, Highland, Highland, citations, lists of references. Any words that have been copied have been put in quotation marks, so we're not trying to take credit for the wording of somebody else because you've shown it that these weren't my words. I've copied those words and I'm being honest about it, just like that. So no problems anymore.